Okay, hi everyone. It's Michelle here. Happy to be here with you. Today I'd love to talk with you a little bit more about muscle testing. If you haven't listened to the previous video on muscle testing basics, highly recommend it. It's Muscle Testing for Spiritual Inquiry, which is a core foundational piece of the Integrated Soul Work model, which is what I use to support people in their conscious awakening process. So today we're going to be talking more about using muscle testing not just to access your subconscious, which is what we talked about in the last video, but to access higher wisdom, soul-based wisdom. And this is one of my favorite parts about spiritual inquiry, using muscle testing. Accessing your subconscious is a powerful experience because it helps you understand the belief systems that are still active in your subconscious, that are still playing out in your life in various ways. So if you still have a core belief system that you're not good enough or you don't deserve something, even though you've done all this work on feeling good enough and feeling worthy, if that's still active in your subconscious, that's still going to play out in your experience anytime somebody says something that would reflect that kind of story to you. You would still feel true on some level. So a lot of what we talk about here with spiritual inquiry is helping you understand what is the story in the physical world that is part of our learning as a soul. As we glean that learning of knowing our inherent worth, knowing our value, knowing that we are loved and adored, and knowing that we are of unlimited potential. All these beautiful spiritual truths that you're learning, I'm sure, in all the books you're reading and all the tools that you're exploring and the courses that you're taking. As we learn all those things, there's still a different step. There's a step in embodying them, which is a slightly different step. So a lot of what muscle testing does is help you bring to the surface those belief systems that you didn't know or had a sense were still active in your experience, and to really confirm that yes, in fact, this is still active in my subconscious. So muscle testing is a beautiful tool for that. Again, if you aren't familiar with muscle testing, the previous video actually tells you the basic techniques. So I'm not going to go over that today. But today I am going to go over how to use it not only just for your subconscious, but how to use muscle testing to talk with your guides, to talk with Source, and really understand Source wisdom, soul wisdom, and to also talk with your higher self. And all three of these are some of the most powerful relationships you will have in your entire life. And they are the most intimate, the most beautiful ones, and ones that often most of us aren't that connected to. And they are sources of such deep wisdom that will help you along the way on your path to awakening. So I'm excited to share those with you today and to help you understand how to use muscle testing to have another tool. There are many beautiful tools for accessing higher wisdom, just as another tool to access higher wisdom. Okay, so just a few things to understand. Let's just differentiate here a little bit between the subconscious and the other aspects of our physicality connection, of our connection with higher wisdom, because they are very different in how we interact when we're muscle testing. The first thing to understand is your body as an instrument. I never really fully got until I started doing this work how accurate that is of thinking of your body as an instrument. So you are literally a fully vibrational being, and your physical body is literally a vibrational responder. So it is a beautiful feedback tool and a beautiful way for you to access and connect with your subconscious, and for higher guidance to connect and talk with you. Muscle testing just reinforces, this is the kind I use, where by a yes and no option, through the strength within your body as a vehicle is an instrument, just like plucking a string. At a certain vibration of yes, your body will actually go strong. When you pluck a certain vibration of no, your body will start to feel weak. That will cause your fingers to loosen. Again, we talk about more of this in the basics, but just to get that foundation of understanding of yourself as a vibrational being is really important here. So, from this, it's a way to, as you understand that of yourself as a vibrational being, then you can start to test your subconscious, which is just a vibration within you. Thing to most understand about your subconscious, and I covered this in the last video too, but I think it's important to reiterate here, is that remember that your subconscious is simply a compilation of your past and your present experience. This includes past lives. It also includes the collective consciousness in many ways. Collective societal story can be in your subconscious as well. You can believe certain things because society believes them and you take it on. But nonetheless, your subconscious is you directly accessing your reserve of all the things that you believe. I think is the best way to put it. So your subconscious only tells you what your story is. It doesn't tell you truth. It's not higher truth, and I always love to emphasize that. So as you're testing in your subconscious, you're really just testing for something as to see if your belief systems are still active. For example, you may test, I don't deserve to be loved. And you may test that and say, in the subconscious, I'd like to test my subconscious that I don't deserve to be loved. And as you use your fingers to test that, it may be true, right? It's strong, so therefore I'm reinforcing that that's true. So that's your subconscious. Beautiful feedback tool, helps you know what's still active in your system. So now we can move into actually testing all kinds of beautiful things in the non-physical. So one of the things that we can test in the non-physical is source. I love this. You can actually ask source. Now the most important thing to understand about source energy is it's completely non-dual. It doesn't have any preference about what's right or wrong, good or bad, right? It's non-dual. It's not in the physical realm. So you can find absolute truth here. It's a beautiful place. So for example, I don't deserve to be loved. You may test that in, excuse me, in non-physical and with source by simply asking with intention, source, is it true that I don't deserve to be loved? The answer is going to be no, across the board. You can also ask, source, is it true that I deserve to be loved? The answer is going to be no. This blew me away when I first started to understand it. But it's because deserving is a part of duality. And source is separate outside of duality, right? So the higher truth, if you asked source, do I deserve to be loved? The answer is going to be no. Do I not deserve to be loved? The answer is still going to be no. You ask source, am I love? The answer is going to be yes. Getting it? Important distinction. Okay, this is just the beginnings of this. You're going to play a lot with it and it'll make so much more sense. The other one that you can test is your higher self. Excuse my itching my nose. Your higher self is the part of you that understands your soul's purpose, your plan, and made this whole plan. So it's a wonderful one to ask questions about how something relates to your soul's plan. So something like, is, being loved, feeling loved, knowing that I'm loved, part of my soul's plan in this lifetime? The answer might be yes. This is something that you're here to learn, right? Very fascinating information. Another thing that you might want to test is with your guides. You can talk with your guides, which is so, so cool. And think of them as like a mentor or somebody that provides higher wisdom or higher perspective in things. They don't have an opinion, a yes, no, right, wrong, but they do have your well-being in mind, definitely. So you can ask them something like, does it serve me to know that I'm loved? Does it serve me to know that I deserve to be loved. And for your soul at that time, it may serve you to feel the feeling of being deserving of love. That's different from absolute truth. Do you see how this is so helpful? All of this learning about your soul's plan and your purpose and where your soul is in its learning. So how did I learn all this? I played with it. I just asked questions. I asked questions to my guide. Doria is my primary guide. And I just asked her tons of questions with muscle testing, yes or no questions. I asked my higher self questions and saw what their answer was. Very different energy from my guide. I asked source questions, specifically saying, just with intention, I'd like to ask source. And then muscle tested. Very different energy, very different answers. Okay? So I encourage you to play with this and to really enjoy it. There is no right or wrong to any of it. Just please, the main thing to do is to be willing to be messy with it. Be willing to not fully understand it. And just see. See what happens. And keep playing with it. And don't give up on it. And you will be so surprised at all the great wisdom that's there for you. Not only in your subconscious, but also with higher wisdom, soul-based wisdom of your source, of your guides, of your higher self. So enjoy playing with it. There'll be more tips and tools to come, and have a great and wonderful day.